things have gotten kind of scary.
Weird.
That's Rachel Zegler, the most hated actress in Hollywood. The last 4 years has been her literally trying to destroy her career. And on March 13th, her dreams came true.
Is this the one with the poison apple? Whatever it is.
People are not happy about Snow White.
Boring, soulless.
One of the worst ideas in the whole history of entertainment.
It's a complete and utter disgrace.
I watched Snow White, so you don't have to.
So the two stars hate each other.
The actress that plays Snow White's a fucking bitch.
Greatest Disney box office bomb, certainly also the end of her career.
I feel like if you are taking on the most iconic Disney role ever, I feel like you should kind of have some sort of reverence.
Oof. That's sad. Record lows in the box office, empty theaters all over America. It's official, Rachel screwed the pooch. But didn't always have to be like this, because Disney chose wrong.
Snow White and the Evil Queen. And that's me. I'm Snow White, which is so funny to say. Once upon a time.
One of his greatest risks and greatest achievements was Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. Everything you see today from Disney was made possible by Snow White.
That's Brett Cooper. And I know she didn't exactly get a contract from Disney, but she was supposed to be the next Snow White. Too bad that ship sailed. Or did it? A few days after Snow White's release, somebody wanted to set the record straight.
Okay, so I know that we all want to talk about this Snow White, but I know that there is also another Snow White that I think you guys want me to talk about.
Now wait, we'll get into that later. It's just too good to show now. Just like the sponsor of this video. Guys, I partner with MyHeritage to show you the best family history service I've ever seen. And it's not even close. This partnership's really big for me because I've been interested in my family's history for a really long time. Like, where do I come from or how deep my family history goes? MyHeritage answered a lot of those questions for me. Let me show you how easy they made it. Now, a bit of this is gonna be blurred because it's actually like personal documents and family info in here. So when you head over to the family tree tab and enter your information, along with the first couple generations of your family, like your parents and your grandparents, MyHeritage takes care of the rest through this instant discovery feature. You could literally add an entire branch to your tree just by clicking a button. Dude, I was able to find out the names of my great grandparents, some great aunts and uncles I wasn't even aware of, and I found a few images from family members in old yearbooks. I ended up calling my mom just to share the experience because it was actually kind of cool. Dude, I was able to enhance the picture, add some color, and then bring it to life through the live photo feature they have in MyHeritage. This is just ridiculous. With over 33 billion historical records, dude, their database is deep. So if discovering your family's lineage and the long history that's led you to who you are today is just as important to you as it is to me, click the first link in the description or scan the QR code on screen and start your 14-day free trial. Thanks MyHeritage for sponsoring this video and allowing me to learn more about my family's history. Back to Snow White. So Brett Cooper and Rachel Zegler had similar trajectories in their career. Rachel got her big break in West Side Story, and around the same time, Brett Cooper started a new YouTube channel with the Daily Wire. As Brett Cooper's new channel was taking off, something weird was starting to happen with Rachel. Yeah, she became famous, but not sure it's the way she planned. So I promise, we'll get to Brett Cooper and whether or not she's playing Snow White. But for now, let's find out what the hell happened to Rachel Zegler. When news broke that Rachel Zegler was gonna be the next Snow White, the internet set on fire. We were like, how do you do the whole Snow White thing with a Latina? Honest question. The announcement came, Haley Bailey. The announcement came a few years after Haley Bailey was announced as Ariel in The Little Mermaid. So yeah, Disney was doing it again, changing up things that nobody cared about. Now, I was really proud when I heard Rachel's response, because it made me realize if there's one thing about Rachel is that she knows exactly what to say at the exact right time. Yes, I'm Snow White, and no, I'm not bleaching my skin for the role. So that's June 2021. And little we know, that'd probably be the nicest thing Rachel would ever say to us. Because since then, she's called Snow White weird and sexist.
The original cartoon came out in 1937, and very evidently so. There's a big focus on her love story with a guy who literally stalks her.
Yeah.
Weird.
She told people to stop asking for pictures.
I get stopped for photos every time I'm online for the Snow White ride, and it is I have to pretend like, oh God, well, crazy that we're in front of this.
She told half the country f off and don't see the movie. And that's a quote. And she literally put her own co-star Gal Gadot in danger. Should I say Gadot? How she did it? Everyone knows the first major appearance Rachel and Gal Gadot had. The infamous D23 Expo in 2022.
I just mean that it's no longer 1937, and we absolutely wrote a Snow White that is
not going to be saved by the prince.
She's not going to be saved by the prince, and she's not going to be dreaming about true love. She's dreaming about becoming the leader she knows she can be.
Snow White is running for president.
I remember the first time I saw that, I was like, ugh. This is supposed to be charming? Regardless, they seem pretty locked up. Gal Gadot's waving that Snow White girl boss flag right behind Zegler. They went ahead and did a couple more interviews.
I was scared of the original cartoon. I think I watched it once and then I never picked it up again.
And called it a day. Around this time, Daily Wire still hadn't announced their version of Snow White with Brett Cooper. But that didn't stop Brett from putting Rachel Zegler in a blender.
Snow White is running for president.
I'm launching my campaign.
I am. Why do they look so smug?
Yeah, around that time, we thought it was just a regular reaction to a trend. But after a couple months, we got this.
Once upon a time, once upon a time, but now that time is gone.
We on, baby. So while Brett just joined the lobby, Rachel's getting her ass kicked. August 2024, when Disney's Snow White trailer dropped on YouTube, Rachel went over next to thank the fans for 120 million views. She almost left it alone. Almost. But she couldn't help herself and put Free Palestine in the replies. Whatever your views, fine. But this is Rachel putting her politics in the places that aren't asking for them. That post started a huge beef with her Israeli co-star Gal Gadot. And Disney finally had enough. Look, shitting on Snow White is one thing, but you're not gonna hurt the Jews. They hired a social media guru just to make sure none of these posts slipped through the cracks anymore. The producer of Snow White, Mark Platt, flew from LA to New York just to tell her, take that shit down. And she didn't. This was the only time Rachel finally got a crumb of the internet on her side. People were like, how dare you, Mark, which made his son Jonah Platt had to respond to all the backlash his dad was getting for reprimanding Rachel Zegler.
Yeah, my dad, the producer of an enormous piece of Disney IP, had to leave his family to fly across the country to reprimand his 20-year-old employee for dragging her personal politics into the middle of promoting the movie for which she signed a multi-million-dollar contract to get paid and do publicity for. Free speech does not mean you're allowed to say whatever you want in your private employment without repercussions. Tens of thousands of people worked on that film, and she hijacked the conversation for her own immature desires. Narcissism is not something to be coddled or encouraged.
A lot of people don't even know that Gal Gadot actually responded to Rachel Zegler's Free Palestine post on X. She retweeted, trying to campaign on the head of your co-star who actually lived through war just so you can look cooler with the kids is really pathetic. Gal quickly unretweeted it, but the damage was done. Every appearance they did after Rachel's X post was terrible. During their 2024 D23 interview, people noticed their body language was off. Rachel didn't even want to look at her. At the 2025 Oscars, they presented an award for Best Visual Effects. And I tell you what, they needed so because it got awkward. There was multiple rumors that they declined appearances on The View and Jimmy Kimmel. So Rachel not only pissed off her fans, but she's also an issue for her co-stars, to the point where Gal Gadot started receiving threats after the Free Palestine post, and Disney had to hire a security detail for her protection. While all of this is going on, Brett Cooper is living a completely different experience. Her comment section channel is doing great. Daily Wire just announced that Brett Cooper is going to be starring in their new version of Snow White. So after seeing how smug Rachel Zegler was being at the SAG strikes,
If I'm gonna stand there 18 hours in a dress of an iconic Disney princess, I deserve to be paid for every hour that it is streamed online.
the Shazam premiere,
I needed a job.
and of course that infamous D23 event,
Weird.
Ben Shapiro and Jeremy Bourne decided to make their own version of Snow White. But month after month, we weren't sure when Daily Wire was coming out with their version. Every update we get would just be claims they're still in pre-production. But the main thing that's raised a lot of questions about the Daily Wire Snow White project is all the Brett Cooper drama. After Brett Cooper left the Daily Wire, there's been zero update on whether or not she's playing Snow White. Well, that was until a couple weeks ago. when Brett finally gave us some answers.
But I know that there is also another Snow White that I think you guys want me to talk about. I am sorry that that has not been addressed sooner, but I just want to say, from me, before we get into this episode, I think I need to address the elephant in the room.
So, while Jeremy Boring and the Daily Wire are scrambling to start production, Disney and Rachel Zegler are just tanking the movie even more. Like how Disney had no idea what to do with the Seven Dwarfs, which started from Peter Dinklage spooking them when he said this.
They're very proud to cast a Latino actress as Snow White.
Yeah.
But you're still telling the story of Snow White.
Yeah.
Seven Dwarfs.
Sure.
It makes no sense to me. You're progressive in one way, but you're still making that fucking backward story of Seven Dwarfs.
After that, Disney went into panic mode, not realizing Peter Dinklage isn't the only dwarf in Hollywood. This set photo leaked of the 7 magical creatures of all sizes and genders, all the way back to CGI dwarfs. And now there's dwarf actors in Hollywood suing Disney in a class action lawsuit. Forget this. $200 million. Add that to the budget. And of course, Rachel was doing her part in destroying the movie too. She basically told half the country, don't watch Snow White.
Vote for Kamala Harris. And it's actually non-negotiable. Our rights are on the line, folks. And if you disagree with this sentiment, just hit the unfollow button. I don't need your business. Thanks.
That along with post after post saying she hopes Trump and his supporters never know peace. Yeah. Didn't go so well.
Disney, you're gonna have to redo your film again. Because this woman is a pig. She has to go. I'm sorry, Disney. She has to go.
So now Rachel's made an enemy out of everybody. Disney hates her co-star hates her, fans say she's right. Rachel has nobody on her side. The pressure is on. So immediately she started covering her ass. She put an apology out to Trump voters saying she lost her cool. She prayed to the heavens that no matter what she does, people still stand in line and watch her movies.
Everyone who hates when I win, the winged victory came to the Louvre in pieces, and people still line up to see her. And I can only hope that despite my flaws, and despite my cracks and my breaks, and there are many of them, that at every premiere and everything I do, people will wait in line to see.
Ugh, that was weird. So, we're almost there. Judgment Day. Disney held a small Snow White premiere before it gets to theaters worldwide, and they invited a small group of specific critics just so they could leave some good reviews. And during the premiere, we saw a completely different person.
This is a classic film that established the Disney name, and now I'm a part of that legacy to some degree. It's not something I take lightly, and it's just the most emotional experience to see little girls dress up as Snow White, and I hope that they will for years to come.
Weird.
No matter how much Rachel tried to change her tune, we knew who she was. And there was only one thing left to do. After 4 years of Rachel Zegler's BS, and that was the worldwide premiere of Snow White. It flopped. Nobody liked it. Theaters were empty across the country. Critics were destroying it. The movie had a 1.5 IMDb score. Every single YouTuber you could name took turns jumping on the movie. It became the worst performing live action Disney movie of all time. And every movie that's come out since destroyed it. The Minecraft movie had a $300 million opening weekend, blowing Snow White out the water. Theaters losing their shit over a chicken. Guy brought a chicken. Oh, well, police kicked him out. So let's look at some of the numbers for Snow White. Snow White needs about 800 million to break even. So let's take a quick look at their box office numbers so far. The studio claims they spent 270 million before promotion. I'm gonna ballpark they spent around 400 million before promotion, because Disney likes to lie about their production costs. So again, they need about 800 million to break even. Snow White's first weekend did 87 million worldwide. The weekend after, box office totals dropped 66%, only bringing in 36 million worldwide. Here's the kicker. Jason Statham's new movie, The Working Man, performed better in its first weekend than Snow White did in its second weekend. It even had 1,000 fewer theaters showing the movie. Fast forward to Snow White's fourth weekend, and it's only made $5 million worldwide. Okay, so, like I said, $800 million to break even. And so far, they got $184 million. Total losses projected to be around $115 million. Yeah. So Rachel disappeared for a bit, but out of nowhere, she decided to give the movie a bit more promo.
Please? For which movie?
Yeah, that's Rachel and her bad friends just going to see the new Snow White movie. Oof. She did a few more promo posts on Insta and then just called it a day. Rumor has it Disney canceled all the promos she was supposed to do. And I don't blame them. It's been 4 years. They're done. So, Disney made a mistake. And it's something they're gonna have to deal with. But, looks like we gotta face the music too. Because while that version of Snow White came out, the one we actually wanted might not see the light of day.
Unfortunately, the only thing I can really say is that that is not my story to tell. Those are not my updates to give. In the film industry, when you are an actor, when you sign one of these contracts in the entertainment industry, unless you are, Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively with all of their films apparently, or Margot Robbie in Barbie, and you are also an executive producer, as an actor, you don't get to dictate anything. You don't get to dictate if a film actually happens. You don't get to dictate when it is shot, how it is shot, if you can ever speak about it to the public. You are simply just there to show up and say your lines and look the way they want you to look, and that was my job on this production, so again, that's really all I can say.
What do you think? Is it happening? Did we get that Brad Cooper Snow White collab, famo? Well, another tank movie for Disney. All because of Rachel Zegler and the girl bossification of Snow White. She's tanked every movie she's been in. Shazam, West Side Story, Y2K, all of them failed. After winning a Golden Globe in 2022, Rachel Zegler was well on her way to becoming a household name. She's a household name, all right, for all the wrong reasons. So, safe to say, Disney, you chose wrong. Again, big thanks to MyHeritage for sponsoring this video. Start your 14-day free trial with the link in my description.